like to call this meeting to order. We would like to, first of all, say we're so happy to see that you have come to join us on this happy occasion at such a short notice, but we know this is Belize. In Belize, we've got to get up and go. We cannot sit still and wait for things to happen. We've got to make it happen even at the last minute. So thanks again for coming. I want to introduce, first of all, people from the table, from the head table. We have our chairman, Mr. Paco. We have our party leader, Mr. Patrick Rogers, and then our campaign manager, public relations, am I correct?
Yes, sir, and the new treasurer.
The new treasurer, I'm sorry, that's more important. Okay, let's give you a big hand of applause, please. Show appreciation for having them here. Okay, it is my duty then to introduce, are you going to give this the welcome address? The welcome?
Have a prayer.
Huh?
No,
the prayer first?
You said the welcome.
Okay, let's go to the prayer. We're already starting it, so we're going to very quickly. We promise you this is going to be a very interesting meeting.
Let us pray. Great loving Almighty God, Father, we're truly grateful this morning that we live in a free country, a country where we can gather, such as this occasion, and speak freely. And so, Father, we give you thanks for this 8,867 miles that you blessed each one of us as Belizeans with. And so today we pray for the deliberations here. Bless the messages, that they may go out, that they may touch the hearts of our people, Father, that they may understand the need for action, the need to rise up, the need, Father, to secure our country. And so, Father, we give you thanks for those who have stepped up from the Belize Progressive Party and all parties that make our democracy alive, God. We thank you for the media who forms the fourth arm of government for being here today. So we ask your blessing upon this gathering. And we ask this now in Jesus' name. Amen.
The BPP is about participatory democracy. So I'm going to ask you to keep standing just for a short while more so we can together sing the national anthem. Now I want to say that the SAR stool is at risk, and we want to remind ourselves first and foremost, and everybody around us, that the SAR stool is very important to us. We have it in our hearts, in our national anthem. So please, let us begin. O land of the free by the Carib Sea, our manhood we pledge to thy liberty. No tyrants in earth, despots must leave this tranquil haven of democracy. The blood of our stars which follows the sun brought freedom from slavery, oppressions wrought by the might of truth and the grace of God. No longer shall we be hearers of good. Arise, ye sons of David's land. Put on your armor, clear the land, drive out the tyrants, let despots flee. Land of the free, by the Carib Sea. Nature has rest, we will welcome to our mountains and valleys where prairies roam. Our fathers obey them, by the hands and old drove back. We made Earth's heritage hold, from Rio Hondo to Old Star Stool, through Coral Isles over Blue Lagoon. We watch in the age of the stars and moon, for freedom comes tomorrow's noon. Arise, ye sons of the Pagan's land. Put on your armor, clear the very good rendition of the national anthem. Next time we're going to have a very, very beautiful singer, a very professional singer to do it. Like in the States, they have Beyonce, we have our own Beyonce. We're going to be inviting her next time to be with us, okay? We move on then to the fifth item on the agenda, where we're going to take time to review very quickly the last 100 days of the activities of the Belize Progressive Party. And I call on the chairman to do that.
Pleasant good morning, one and all. We really appreciate you taking the time out to spend with us on this momentous occasion. As Mr. Bautista said, I will be sharing with you very briefly the synopsis of 100 days of BPP activism. I'm going to breeze through it very quickly because we have also very other important things to discuss that are a bit more pertinent, but I will say beforehand that if you'd like a log of this information, we encourage you to go to our website at www.belizeprogressiveparty.org. To begin, on the 15th of November 2015, we held a retreat at Scotchy's in Belmopan with approximately 30 area reps in attendance from all over the country, and it included the participation of the chairman of our Diaspora Advisory Council and Mr. Wil Maheia from PG. 30th of November 2015, we issued a press release on the fire at the youth hostel where 3 female inmates locked up in a cell perished, very unfortunately. We called for a thorough investigation, and Dr. Louis Espat and Mrs. Elizabeth Dina were assigned to this task. The 9th of December 2015, BPP executive members picketed the first session of the House of Representatives, calling for the signing of the UNCAC. Myself and the campaign manager picketed the Belize City office of the Prime Minister on Coney Drive and held a symbolic signing of the UNCAC with the press in attendance. On Christmas Day, the political leader, Honorable Patrick Rogers, issued a TV, Christmas message. On the 12th of January of this year, members of the executive conducted an investigation into rice and food safety, visiting Agriculture Department offices in Belmopan, Central Farm, and Tropic Rice Production Plant in Spanish Lookout. We issued a press release 2 days later calling for closer monitoring of arsenic and pesticide residuals. The 15th of January 2016, BPP representatives went on Plus TV's Rise and Shine program to discuss the myriad of topics, including de-risking of local banks by the USA, arguing that the crux of the matter was illicit risk and not only regulatory risk cited by US authorities. The way forward, we believe, is the signing of the UNCAC. 17th January 2016, the first strategic meeting held in Belize City, calendar of events outlined, duties assigned, and treasury report accepted. 30th January 2016, the Deputy Leader and the campaign manager toured 5 Toledo villages, urging support for the BPP and videoing their work on PGTV. BPP issued a press release on banks de-risking, further arguing the Prime Minister and Minister of Finance to sign the UNCAC. I guess you can discern already that there's a recurring theme here. February 3rd, 2016, the BPP issued a call for a reduction in fuel prices, greater consultation regarding the creation of a municipal bond by the Belmopan City Council. Other February initiatives include our political leader visiting horizontal and orange block executive bodies to promote organization and constituency committees. Dr. Margaret Noguera, a Belizean entrepreneur and political activist, visited the executive in Belmopan, promising support for the Northern Council. We issued a protest release regarding the fugitive David Schnitzer. We also increased our online presence and website on social media. We commenced preparations for the setting up of the Secretariat in Belize City, where we are here. We protested the proposed Social Security $6 million loan to Santander. Also, we consulted with the chairman of our Diaspora Advisory Council on the closure of the papaya industry in the north, and also with our colleague Lucilo Tech on the threat to foreclose on his personal property should he be unable to excuse me, meet court costs for the failure of his and the Belize Cane Farmers Association's court case against the Belize Sugar Board. And finally, the BPP held the second strategic meeting in Belmopan on 18 February. A new interim executive was appointed and other matters were discussed. Fundamentally, the crux of the matter is that we want to let you know that the BPP is no fly-by-night entity. We're here to stay, and as is testimony to the past 100 days of BPP activism, we remain engaged, attuned, and open to liaise with the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We want you to know that this is an event that is very dear to our hearts. That we have been working on finding an office for ourselves. First we thought of Belmopan, but we knew that Belmopan being the capital was important, but it was more important to have our main office here in Belize City, because here is where our larger population is. And so we finally we shopped around and we finally found this place. We want you to know that this place is going to go through a massive transformation. Okay, with the help of the community of Belize City, the residents of Belize City, and our dear colleagues, we are going to make a wonderful transformation of this place. We are going to now call on the representative of the family that owns this property, that is Mr. Patrick Rogers, to sign on his behalf, or on his family's behalf, his lease with our campaign manager and treasurer. I think that is more important to call the treasurer in this regard, to sign this 10-year lease. It's a 10-year lease that we have, and given to us at a very, very, I don't want to say the amount because it sounds very cheap. I think it is one of those things where you want to show the contribution you make to the rent is merely a symbolic one. Okay? So I'm going to call on both these gentlemen to step forward in front of the table so we can take a good picture and sign this lease that we have agreed to. I don't know, would you like to share some part of the lease?
Well, sure.
Okay, we're going to ask Mr. Rogers, Mr. Lopez, to give us salient parts of this lease.
Okay, well, in keeping with our commitment to transparency and accountability, and we have nothing to hide, no strings attached, there's nothing sinister or anything behind. Yes, we feel that the rate is reasonable. Obviously, there are taxes that have to be paid on this property, and it's unfair for us to ask for it for free, which we could have gotten for. So the rent shall be $500 per month. Okay? We feel for the size of this property, the location of this property, we thank the Rogers family, who Patrick had to consult before this was agreed to, for allowing us to commit the next 10 years to this property. Of course, we'll be investing quite a bit more in upgrading it. For those of you who do not know, this property comes with a lot of history, having housed the Commoners Organization, having housed many persons leaving our rehabilitation center and trying to find their way back into society. But it also houses what we feel will become in the next few weeks our print mechanism, which shall be known as the Progressive. So there is a printing press here. It has worked. The last time it printed for the VIP or former affiliates. It will be now put in motion once more to print our documents, and of course what we feel will be a monthly publication, and then further down the road we'll see where it goes. So this is historic. It is effective March 1st, 2016 and expires on February 28, 2026. and it is a renewable contract with the first right to renew for another 10 years. So that puts us in the long run, folks. Among other things that we hope to establish here is a study center with computers for the residents and the young people of Belize. Those of you know that Patrick has embarked on such a thing years ago, where he had a computer school, one of the very first actually in Belize City. Many young people went through that academy, and those are some of the things that we hope to do out of here. Also, we're hoping to launch an internet radio. We see that as the future, and that allows us to get on the airwaves without going through all the red tape. Of course, we figure they're going to try to see how they block that also. But in essence, we thank you for being here, and so without further ado, we'd like myself, the chairman, and will sign on behalf of BPP, and Mr. Rogers will be signing on behalf of his family as it is their property. Of course, there's two copies, a copy for the proprietors of the property and a copy for the Lease Progressive Party.
Let's give me our hand, please. Thank you very much. We are going to be sharing a few things with you. We are awaiting the arrival of our Deputy Party Leader, Mr. Wil Maheia. He's on his way, coming from Belmopan. He was on Plus TV this morning explaining the debacle he faced this weekend down in our stool. So he's doing our work, and we must congratulate him. We must be happy for him, even though he's going to be late. Paco is going to give us say a few words of encouragement and to show us the way, or show yourselves, or show you guys the way that we have planned for the future. Patrick?
Greetings, brothers and sisters. First of all, I just want to say how grateful I am to be doing battle with these brothers and sisters. We have the well-known activists from the north, from the Northern Territorial Volunteers, Brother Philip de la Fuente, who actually is taking up the helm of the Northern Caucus for the party. Brother Wil, as Bob said, is on his way in from PG. Hopefully he'll be here to do a closing remark. But at the ending of it, what we have here, I believe, is one national party. We all were just fraction groups in various regions of this country. But October 1st marked the birth of a truly national party. And in line with showing that we are different, we are currently establishing the infrastructure of a mass party. So to Mr. Lopez's point, we need to have our secretariat, we need to have our own media organs up and running by June. So certainly, being blessed with a print shop, getting out a monthly newsletter should be easy. By March 31st, we should have out the progressive newsletter on a monthly basis. We're currently working and purchasing our own internet radio station. Instead of just leasing a little hour or two from persons who have it, we're working out the logistics to be able to put one budget in place to sustain monthly radioing so they can stop it from your broadcast license. And today, with the advent of technology, everybody will be able to listen to the BPP radio station right there on the internet. So no, we don't make money stop you, because we have one message, and that message is that, you know what, you spend money to save time, or you spend time to save money to lease. Now, Bob and I have been in this with Bob since 2000, right, Bob? When we were all three members of the We the People movement. We've since gone separate ways, and October 1st represent one coming back, where now it gives me great joy to be standing here with my brother from We the People, my brother from PNP will be here as well, and today we're offering Belize the BPP, the Belize Progressive Party, with one national platform, and that is putting in place the infrastructure to be one truly national party. We're not talking a whole lot right now because I don't know how we go when you do work. If you do work, we can't be doing a whole lot of talking. But I assure you, we've been taking notes of everything that has been happening in this country. And we will be putting out one press conference like this at least every 3 months, right? We don't want the media say, well, the capture on a lot in every month. Certainly we feel that we need to be present and we need to not just be using Facebook, but we need to come to you all and ask you all to, give one a bit of time, make the people understand that we are putting in the work. But this is different. This is not like you all have seen before. This is a bunch of brothers and sisters that have committed to our last breath and know that we will be turning this party over to younger brothers and sisters. So we will go down in history as the builders. We don't necessarily have to do the winning, which certainly we're predicting with the strategic plan completed in the next month or so. We're doing one 10-year plan that will guarantee, before I step aside, that we will have started winning as independents in this country. So this is a historic first step by establishing 10 plus the 10 option, 20 years of permanency for the BPP right here at 63 Vernon Street. We have taken roots to these. Now that we grow this thing. People when they want to know what we're reaching, we have one location that is central that we can be reached. Our website is up and running. It's not been publicized enough, so people still don't know. But I want to say this. We collectively, as a group, has committed Belize to ensure that we inform the people. The message that we carry is always adding value to the political discourse out there. We never come and bring something that is insignificant into the discourse. The two major parties try to make it insignificant until they realize the public is biting onto it, and then they would bite onto it. So the case in point is the ICJ. The ICJ, we have consistently been saying that is not Belize's only option. It should not be tabled as it is the only option for Belize. Because what we have is the PUP started this thing in 2008 and the UDP continued. Right? So to see the PUP send up their attorneys, Eamon Courtney, who was part of that team that signed the compromise, because I'm getting to this document right here, the infamous compromise. This document has been signed by our executive, and yet Mr. Courtney and Assad Schumann refused to lend credence to the point that we have been making since 2008, that this document is not legal. This is not a legal document until it goes to the legislative arm of government to be ratified like every other treaty that every government signs on to. So the laws of Belize clearly states that any treaty the executive signs on to needs to be taken to the House of Representatives to be validated. All right? So the Senate has to, it goes to the Senate, not to the House of Representatives. It goes to the Senate for ratification. People say the Senate don't rubber stamp, and we said fine, we accept that, it is a rubber stamp. But the law says you should take it there for ratification. It's a given you will get it ratified. However, we wanted to see all the other traitors of this country in that Senate that would vote down the party line to say, yes, let's go to the ICJ when we haven't explored all our options. Now, if you allow me, just a little bit of history. 1991, the Maritime Areas Act was signed, it came into effect 1992. Since 1992, Guatemala have been saying, I want land, I want peace, and I want seas. So when their president at the time, Carlos Salinas, came to Belize, and he negotiated what he thought was sufficient to take back to his Congress, what he took back was only keys in the Ranguana and Zapadilla Key ranges, free use of those, and waters, 9 miles of territorial waters in the south. So instead of Belize claiming its 12 miles, we gave up 9 miles to Guatemala. When the president went back to Guatemala with that, they simply told him that was not enough. And they literally rolled him out the country because they insisted from 92 that they want land and they will settle for nothing less than $100. So they're asking for Sidun down, knowing that when we go to the ICJ, if we were stupid enough to take that step, they will be granting land because Belize have already shown that, oh, we think they deserve something. See keys and C's here. So the ICJ will say, come on, Belize, be realistic. The man they could have get from Sidun down, we just want to get them on the river down. That is what we're setting ourselves up to when we haven't even explored our other options. And what are our other options? Well, if we kill this thing at the Senate without getting it ratified, or we kill it at the referendum when it's put to the people in a referendum, it's the same as saying we do not want to go to the ICJ. They're the same results. You have to find some other step to go to. And what is that other step? Well, that other step would find only Guatemala because they're the one claiming our territory. We're not claiming their territory. So we had no need to be pursuing this thing. They're the one that would find the need to now go to the UN Security Council and say, this matter needs to be resolved. Please hear it because the people of Belize now want to take it to the ICJ. We go to the UN Security Council then. The UN Security Council will be mandated by their own charter that gave us independence to ensure whatever it is they determine is a settlement does not include Belize ceding any territory. I want to repeat that again. UN sanctioned independence with territorial integrity intact. So a Security Council of the UN is not about to go and make a conflicting judgment that would allow Belize to cede territory to Guatemala. So let's be real. There are alternatives to going to the ICJ. It is not being discussed now here because the PUP wanted this and the UDP want this, and we may very well face one referendum with both those parties saying, party line, yes to the ICJ. That is what is scary, which is why we felt the need, after what they did to our brother down south. Brother Wil, with the BTV, attempted to go to Gracias a Dios up the Sarstoon River. Now, not only are we being prevented from going to the Sarstoon Island, but we're being told now that you can't even go up that river. That river is an internal river to Guatemala. Right? Understand that. Their Minister of Foreign Affairs said that is an internal river to Guatemala. The border is on the banks of the Sarstoon River on the Belize side. That is their claim. Now, why would our government continue to build confidence for Guatemala? When I call it confidence building measures, if you really look at it, honestly, all it's doing is building confidence for the Guatemalan claim. So we're saying, why haven't our government taken this thing and internationalized the aggression that we are being faced by the Guatemalan armed forces? We are being addressed, but if you were to listen to our government, they're not doing any lobbying internationally to say, hey man, them brothers they talk peace and when we go to the ICJ but then the BP now we head into a big stick. They're telling us we can traverse this territory within our boundaries as we've been knowing it, as I ban and know it, the island of we, the midpoint of the channel, the border with Guatemala. All of a sudden, since the 1990s now, they put a military base down there. When did they put that first base? In 2000? It's not that long ago that Guatemala first established one naval presence there. And they have built up and built up and built up, and so 15 years later, they're the only authority down there. And our own Belizeans have learned to respect them as the authority because they don't see our BDF patrolling that area. Brother Greg Chuck told me in confidence, he said when he was doing his Satin expeditions, if he's going to run into any military, it would be Guatemalan military in the Temash, Sarstoon Temash, not Belizean military. So I don't think this is nothing new that is happening, brothers and sisters. There have been one move by Guatemala to assert sovereignty over southern Belize, so that if and when one ruling comes about, they would have already been effectively exercising control over that area. So their Navy is doing what their government position is to show you are the authority there in that area. And we have some spineless leaders that don't understand that for this thing to be internationalized, it may very well take a real incident happening down there. But that's what the army is there for. That's what the army is there for. The army not there to be afraid and not protect the territory. Now if they address our army, now we have this thing internationally. And now they would have lost whatever goodwill they have amassed since 1981. because the goodwill we had that got us independence have been lost. Guatemala have undermined that, been lobbying the Caribbean and the rest of Central America and getting them to be supporting their cause that England did them wrong. So I say to you here today, brothers and sisters, as I've been saying since that compromise was signed, there is an out. There is an out. The out is for England to compensate Guatemala the way Article 7 in the 1859 Convention stated. That was one compensatory clause. England on 2 different occasions showed that she acknowledged it as such. But she did not want to pay £70,000 back in 1862. She wanted to pay £50,000. But that is an admission that she needed to compensate Guatemala. Now you come all the way up to the 1940s, and Guatemala was saying, give me 400 million pounds then, and this thing settled. If you don't want to give me that, make I give you 400 million pounds and buy you out of this territory. England refused those options again. But what is that saying, brothers and sisters? That is saying that Guatemala knows darn well that if we go to the ICJ or the UN Security Council and do not allow the ICJ to rule that we see land, the ICJ would be able to say, you know what, Belize, Guatemala was done wrong and you need to be compensated. And we figure that £50,000 from 1866 up to today at 6% interest or so much or whatever it is. But that is not being given to the ICJ judges as an option to rule if Belize were to lose. All they are given is you have to cede land if Belize lose. That is crazy when they don't have any authority until we give that to them. So that is why we've been calling for this thing to go to the Senate so that people can input and say, let's amend these clauses so that we allow the judges at the ICJ the option of ruling monetary compensation in the event Belize loses. It's crazy to go with this document penned the way it is, saying that all they can rule is that you get land Guatemala if you win. Why would we go ahead with that when there's other avenues to explore? And if they go to the UN Security Council, which is the next step, as I said, after a no to an ICJ, then the UN Security Council would have to do Belize territorial integrity intact. Otherwise, they have to go back to change that convention from 1980. You understand that, brothers and sisters? This is the point where we've been trying to make. So to hear Asad Shuman not even mention the ratification of this document and the options if there's a no to the ICJ. I'm seeing where the PUP has already shifted their position by putting those learned attorneys up there to soften the blow that PUP is no longer no to the ICJ. This new leadership of the PUP has signaled that they will be in favor of going to the ICJ. All right, not get it twisted. And that is why the BPP is here, ringing their alarm, saying that this is bigger than party politics. This is way, way bigger than PUP and UDP now. This is about saving this country before we lose it, and we are in the act of losing it as we're speaking. Now, having said that, I need to quote my chairman. I love this brother with all my heart. They make my job so easy. Thanks, chairman. Thanks. The chairman has a way with words. Belizeans and true friends of Belize, what has transpired is untenable and inexcusable. It has occurred with the full compliance of the powers that be. In that regard, I give mention to both the sitting UDP administration as well as successive governments, including the PUP since 2008. This is, can I say our position, Mr. Chairman? This is our position due to the fact that since the bipartisan support for the signing of the once much wanted compromise during that year, our nation's territorial integrity has consistently eroded. Now we find ourselves where Belizeans are unable to traverse the Sarstoon River, let alone reach our very own Sarstoon Island. I call shame on our elected officials of either you who have complied with the demands of the Guatemalan government. What we are witnessing is the manifestation of the piss poor PUDP 4A policy of appeasement, acquiescence, accommodation, and adherence. The operative question is, what shall our people do about it? Belizeans must not only demonstrate or discuss via action, but it is imperative that we also hold all elected officials who, through their own willful negligence, have allowed this travesty to occur. The immediate principles that come to mind include the Prime Minister, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and the Minister of National Security, and all subordinate ministers of state who have acted in consort with these individuals, spanning both the UDP and the PUP. For in our mind, they are all culpable. In keeping with the reality of collective responsibility, the PM's entire cabinet should also be held accountable as well. We call on civil societies and the unions to do their part in such effort. For today, it is not only the Sarstoon Island, but also access to our very own Sarstoon River. Tomorrow, it may be an Orlando area near you. Mr. Chairman, thanks for your words.
Our next item is going to be the detailed accounts, and nothing like getting an eyewitness report on what happened down at the Sarstoon. We're anxiously waiting for Mr. Wil Maheia, but since he isn't here as yet, let me share with you a few things that I hope my colleagues will agree are important for us to put out to the public once and for all. We want you all to know that we are determined to start to share with you our ideas, our initiatives. Why did we choose the name Progressive? Progressive means that we are an organization that is always seeking the initiative. We will be taking the initiative. What we find in Belize, in the last few weeks especially, is that there is a lack of willpower, there's a lack of commitment, there's a lack of initiative. Well, we are going to take up that initiative. We are seriously discussing right now a demonstration, a picketing, call it what you may, of the National Assembly with respect to what has happened to us in the Sarstoon. And when I say us, I don't mean the BPP only. I mean Belize, the young people, the mothers, the old people. I know that there are some people who are pretty concerned about our national anthem, for example. Our anthem says, from the Rio Hondo to the old Sarstoon. If we lose the Sarstoon, that is going to throw us terribly in a confused mind. It's going to bring on a confusion that I cannot describe to you as yet. We have grown up, we were born with this anthem. Before it was accepted officially, we got used to it. The next thing I want to share with you is that the radio station, Radio Progressive. We're going to have the newspaper, it's going to be Progressive, but we're going to have Radio Progressive. We're thinking about it, we haven't made a final decision, we are still going to make a formal, official announcement with respect to that. But I have already come up with a jingle. Every radio station has to have a jingle. And our jingle, I'm going to suggest, is Radio Progressive, the voice of the new political consciousness of Belize, in the heart of Belize City, because we are going to have that radio station here in Belize City. Okay? The other thing I want to say is that is to recall, for the benefit of my colleagues and yourself, that this is a very key location. The Guatemala Lopez right next door began just like we are right now, with a small newspaper, something, and it grew. That is where we see ourselves going. We are in this for the long haul. We're not a fly-by-night political party. We want to assure you of that. Many of us have given up most of our lives to politics, to bringing a new vision, a new approach to doing politics in Belize. We are certainly grateful to have this place. I remember, as we the people, we had a number of meetings upstairs, and that is how we drafted the concept of the reform that is needed for this country. So this place to us is very dear. It's very, it has fond memories. How many dozens of times I have been walking up and down that step with my colleagues, with people like myself who are passionate for seeing this country become the greatest country in Central America. Okay? Let's not forget, Donald Trump might be talking about the greatest country, America being the greatest country in the world, right? But we must also understand that we have the opportunity and we may have the duty to make this country the greatest country in the world, and we can, because there is the willpower and there is the brain power to make that happen. Look at yourselves, ask yourselves, what am I doing here? How can I use my talents? We're going to invite you guys to join us in this journey to make this country the best country in Central America. All right, I'm being asked at this point to open up the floor, okay? We want to be able to answer any question. We are not secretive about anything we're doing. We are open packet, if you like. So feel free, throw out all the questions, we'll answer them, okay? Thank you.
The lease, Jules Vasquez from Channel 7, good morning. The lease is for the whole building. Okay, so is that not be characterized as an arm's length negotiation, $60,000 lease for which is transacted between the party and the party leader? Does that, in your opinion, meet arm's length standards?
Considering that most of that
Do you know what I mean, Mike? Please.
Considering that most of the 60,000 when they're going to pay taxes when we use to nice up the building, Jules, and that's nothing really, it's not above board transaction. This building was earmarked to help for movement or help Belize. So after housing, home of we the people, House of Commoners, and the VIP, which were all just stages along growing to the point of being a national movement party. Now we're here as a national party. Now the BPP needs to take possession of this property and spend that 60,000 paying taxes and fixing up the property.
We see that Mr. Senior has to square away or has to, now we're talking about the trust. But when he was leader the last time, the old guard representative side was constantly pressing him to pay $500,000. Or his leadership to pay $500,000 so that he could properly take ownership of the building, and they were threats to take it away. Lots of things happening in politics, who can be friend, turn enemy, all sorts of things. Do you foresee that anything like that could happen, or is there, I shouldn't say should be foreseen because we know that from but are there precautions taken against any such thing happening?
You see, right now, as you're speaking, we cannot even register the name BPP because our laws do not govern political parties. So we've opted to go the route of a cooperative. We will be registering as a cooperative. The press that sits over there will come into the cooperative. The lease agreement is going to fall into the cooperative hands. And this way, it's not about Patrick owning the assets. It's about one cooperative that is called the BPP because no laws let the register as one political party, and they want us to register as a friendly society, which we are not. We're not a friendly society. So we opted to do our due diligence to ensure that when we register as a cooperative, they will give us our name, Belize Progressive Party, because there's no law that says we can't use party in our name. I don't know if that answers your question. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome Brother Wil, our Deputy Leader. Thanks for coming and here we will see any more question and give you a chance to give the first hand account of what transpired at the BTV.
We'd like him to do that right now.
All right, fine. Let me just introduce the lion, please. Belize, there's activism, which basically puts you in one of the two parties corner when as an activist you get into trouble and you need a liar. Because all the liars then rather do. But at some point, activists learn that you need to go get the power yourself to make the law changes that needs to be effected in this country. So Brother Wil, as leader of the BTV, has most of our executive either on his BTV executive or as members of the BTV. So let's not get it twisted. We haven't given up on activism. Until we start getting the political power, we're still very much activists in this country. And Brother Wil, one of the biggest activists in the country with his organization BPP. Please give Brother Wil a
Morning, Jules.
Morning, brother.
Yes, morning, everybody.
Hi.
All right, take the question.
Okay, Wil, a lot has been said, but let's start with the Minister of Foreign Affairs and the ministry. Why are you all against going to the minister and say, "Oh, you know what? One of my get hurt. This is a contested area, disputed area, and they're professionals to handle it. As civilian citizens, you all should not go. You're recklessly endangering your own lives and others." How do you respond to that?
I'd say let's define professionals, because if they are professionals to handle this, they've been handling it for so long, and in my opinion, they have continued to mishandle the situation.
Yes! Professionals, yeah, right.
Would you give us your narrative of what went into the situation and the decision making on Saturday, and what next?
Yes. Well, as long as we have what we have here, 8867 square miles, which encompasses the total territory of Belize, we will never be told where we can go and where we can't go. Right? More people are dying on the south side of Belize City than dying on the border here right now. The minister, I heard him on the radio this morning, Minister Ellington was saying that it was under the PUP watch that 7 BDF was captured, and that never happened under his watch. Well, I want to remind him that under his watch, Danny Connerty got killed on Belize and so. So I believe that for him to look for scapegoats and to look for reasons to blame the other party instead of looking at a way in which we as Belizeans, all 300 and odd thousands of us, solve this problem and live in harmony with our neighbors. I have absolutely no dislike for my neighbors, but my neighbors have got to play by the rules. They have got to respect our borders. My neighbor who lives next to me, I like him, but he can't come in my yard and put on what he needs. Right? That's the bottom line.
No, the Minister Ellington has been using an argument for some time that it is you all, the territorial volunteers, and that type of activism that has made this our school a flashpoint. In the past, he claims this our school was cool, maybe slightly warm, but now you all have overheated it by your radical, combative form of engagement. How do you respond to that?
It's about to get hotter. It's about to get hotter because we will not be deterred, right? And combative, I don't think we're combative. No weapons, not even a machete was on our boat when we went. You know, so I don't think we go there in a combative mode. So we go there because as Belizeans, I believe that every Belizean have the right to go in every part of this country, and our borderline, according to the 1859 treaty, states that our border is at the midpoint, deepest point of the Sarstool River, including the Sarstool Line. So I don't think that we are combative, and I don't think that we are the type of organization that promote violence. I have never ever taken any weapon with me on any of our expeditions. When we do the 3 or 4 day expeditions into the Columbia Forest, we do take like maybe a shotgun or so, you know, and that's, you can't feel like a mountain man he can't take his gun. But I personally, I don't, and those guys, they don't take it to try and fight off Guatemalans. Maybe they'll shoot a game meat to eat or something like that. But it's not nothing like combative or anything like that.
The BPP says that the Guatemalans are taking a more aggressive profile, both in the rhetoric and in the on-the-ground activities. How would you respond to that?
I welcome the PUP, and I welcome the UDP, and I welcome the BPP, and I welcome NP, as long as we are Belizeans. You know, so when I look at this thing from a Belizean standpoint, sure, you know, the Belize Progressive Party have always stood by what we do. Many members of the BPP have been on expeditions themselves. They have been to the border markers, they have been to the border line, even before there was BPP. So I want every Belizean to basically take the politics out of it and look at the country as a whole, and a country that we need to fight for and we need to protect, and we should not be stopped from going up the Sarsoon River. Right now, Jules, I'm sure you know the area, the entire Sarsoon National Park right now is unmanaged. It's a world-recognized park. We just went to climate change conference in Paris. We just went to another conference in Rio, and we signed all these international agreements, putting our signature there, saying that we are in favor of this and we're in favor of that. And when we get home, we forget all those agreements. Right? The shark killing, hammerhead shark, is an endangered species. Right? And they're killing it like crazy in Belize. We are a signature to the CITES Convention that prevents the killing of hammerhead shark. Yet we continue to allow the killing of hammerhead shark. Right? So I believe that we have to be serious to what we put our signature to. And we have to defend this territory, and that's all we want to do. The Belize Territorial Volunteers, that's all we want to do. We want to make sure that we don't lose a square centimeter or a blade of grass of the Belize.
At what point, or is there a point, you said into another, but is there a point, being that I personally know that you are wanted in Guatemala,
well,
not wanted officially,
yeah,
but they would love to have you spend a night in a Fidelity lockdown because you are humiliating them internationally. That's what it is. I have personally received that information. Second, obviously they are ramping up their terms of engagement. Thirdly, it's clear the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Belize has told you all to stand down. Is there any point at which you will yield to caution? Let discretion be the better part of valor and say, all right, let's wait and see.
Okay. I believe that there would be some points in which we would consider that. But let's first recall our ambassador, right? Let's have some serious dialogue. Don't let the Guatemala be the one who is in control of the debate or in control of the negotiation. Let's show the Belizean people that we are serious about not giving away an inch of our country. To me, I have not seen that. When I see them saying, look, I am not going to any inauguration you have in Guatemala until my Belizean people could move freely in our country. I'm not going to attend another meeting with you. I'm not going to put back my ambassador there until you understand that our Belizeans could traverse the Sarsoon River and any part of the world that we know from 1859. Then I'll say, you know what? Government is really doing their job. I'll stand back and we'll wait and we will support the government. But until then, I don't see anything happening, Jules. It's getting worse. It's not getting better. There are more Guatemalan fishermen today in Belize waters. With everything that has been done, the election gimmick last year, British troops on ground here, there are more forests being lost, more species disappearing. So it's not working. We have to stand up for this country, and the minute we shut up, which they would like us to do, then to me it's just like a free-for-all. In the construction industry, the stores like Belize that bring in all of their materials, they pay their GST, they pay their workers, they hire Belizean people. Things are, the borders are so porous that, those I would hope that those people who are into those the construction industry and so would be with us on the borderline because their industry is suffering. It's a Belize thing. The unions, I invited the unions not Friday or not Saturday morning, but like 2 weeks before, right? To go along with us on the trip. I expect that the Belizean people begin to realize, you know what? We are losing our country. We want to save our country, and the time like the quotes will say, save it before you lose it.
Sir, given what you said previously, that the public advisor from the government probably deterred people from going out there on Saturday, do you expect going forward that you would actually get more people to come out on their turn?
Yeah, I expect. I mean, let's be real. Like I've said, that if I was probably leading the expedition on Saturday, knowing the condition of the weather and what we would have faced from the weather, I probably wouldn't have done myself. But we had people who came from Belize City, and we didn't want to say, okay guys, weather bad, turn it off. No. The weather definitely had played a role, but the government did a good way of scaring people off. They're experts at that. They scare people off. But no, I expect that next time we go, there will be more Belizeans. Bobby could go. He was under the weather. He'll go. You going, Bobby?
Well, I'm telling you right now, and I suggested to Will already, I'd like to see us, and I'm going to put the first canoe, I'd like to see us put a Sarstoon territorial challenge to go up that river in canoes, instead of having Wil Maheia coming down. Let's get 70, 80 teams of canoes, and let's see if the Guatemala are actually going to turn back peaceful paddlers from going up a river that is ours. That's where we should be taking Wil Maheia. This is a territorial challenge up the Sarstoon to process and just. And I tell you what, I think we will be doing this.
Nobody wants to die. I am not a violent person. I don't believe in violence. I believe in peaceful solution. I have a great idea, Bobby. I think we could there's lots of reasons, environmental reasons to do territorial challenge using canoes or kayaks. We could even invite Guatemala. It's a peaceful thing. It's a way to build relationship, build peace. In Punta Gorda, Darius Alvilani continues to build a relationship from a cultural standpoint by inviting Guatemala, Garifuna people to come and participate in activities all the time. So I think that there's not only, no, we don't want to go to ICJ. There's lots of other ways we can solve this problem.
In the release that was put out by the government, they speak about raising the matter at the OAS, sending a diplomatic note to Guatemala, but there's no topic there about the UN or actually internationalizing this situation down in the Sarstoon. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, and this is one of the things that gives me a reason to mistrust what these guys are saying. Here you have a peaceful nation like Belize, and you have Guatemala with all their history of human rights violation, right? Will march their military into Belizean territory, and you will not take that to the United Nations? I don't know of any other country in this world where that would happen, and it would not be, there would not be a complaint at the United Nations or the Organization of our American States, or people would be out in front of the Guatemalan embassy protesting, or recalling our ambassador from Guatemala. So this is what gets me it's really reason and not trust what they're saying, because for some reason something doesn't seem to mesh here.
Also, the Guatemalans now, because they have a base right there, have the 24/7 presence there. We don't. We only do this Tuesday trip every Tuesday. Do you believe that there should be 24/7 presence there from our military as well?
Of course. There's no reason why we should not have a 24/7 presence there. And I would hope that after the base, their camp is completed, that there will be a 24/7 military presence. I mean, there's so much for them to do in that area in terms of like protecting Belize and its citizens. Again, the foreign minister has misspoken and clearly is misinformed of what is going on at the SARS when he got on the radio yesterday and talked about, Toledo or Belize fishermen going up the river to fish. I mean, that's ridiculous. That won't happen. Belize fishermen don't go anywhere near the SARS to fish anymore. Absolutely not. So again, he's clearly misinformed, and again, I'll make a public invitation to the foreign minister to take a trip with us to BPP.
Thank you very much, Mr. Deputy Political Leader. I just want to say that it is very refreshing to know that this party is about taking initiative. When it's not going to be same old party. Recently it was said that, or rather the PUP said in a release that we should make this matter, or rather the government should make this matter a bipartisan, meaning two-party. They only want the PUP and the UDP to be involved in the solution of this matter. We don't think that the two of them are not solving this problem. We cannot leave it to them. Rather than coming out of the hole, we're going deeper in the hole. We want to involve the whole of Belize in solving this Guatemalan problem. We want BPP, we want UDP, we want PUP, we want every kind of P, even no P at all, to be a part of the solution. You cannot, this is a small country, you cannot leave anybody out of the effort to make this country secure. So with that, I want to say thanks to you all for coming out. We share the same feelings as you. We are Belizeans, born and bred, and we love this country. We love this country for the depth, okay? So I would like to say to you that we are planning to take several initiatives, and one of them came from a Facebook message that we sent out asking the people of Belize to send in their ideas as to how we should deal with this matter before us. And one suggestion made by a caller or somebody who was in touch with us is that we should put a moratorium on all naturalization of Guatemalans until this matter is solved. No more naturalizations of Guatemalans. This is not, it is in our right. We are not denying them anything that they have. We're saying that you want this, then you have to give us that. Free exchange, no robbery. Okay, so I want you to go home, talk to your friends, and we want to ask you all to get in touch with your friends and relatives in the United States, in Canada, in Taiwan, and in Jamaica, in Trinidad, in all the Caribbean countries, and let them write those representatives who they have, those politicians who represent them in those countries, to join us in defending this sacred land of ours, this land that we love so dearly. Okay, so thank you very much. Have a pleasant afternoon and Godspeed.